At first glance, this place looks peaceful. Golden hills, a silent valley, wheat moving in the wind like waves on a dry sea. But peace can be deceptive, because under this sun, in this village, every loaf of bread begins with a test of endurance. The temperature's climbing toward 122 degrees Fahrenheit. The air is dry, the ground is burning. And in the middle of this heat, people are doing what machines do in other parts of the world. They are harvesting wheat by hand. No air-conditioned cabin, no modern combine rolling across endless fields. Just hands, backs, sickles, old tools, and a determination passed down from generation to generation. This is not a staged picture of rural life. This is survival. Every bundle of wheat you see here has already taken months to grow. It has survived winter, wind, drought, insects, and the uncertainty that comes with farming in a place where the weather decides everything. But the hardest part comes at the end, the harvest. In the early hours, while the sun is still low, the villagers enter the field. The wheat is tall, dry, and ready. If they wait too long, the heads can break. If they move too slowly, the heat will take their strength before the work is done. So they begin. One person cuts, another gathers, another lifts the heavy stalks from the ground and carries them toward the place where they will be threshed. From far away, the movement looks simple. Up close, it is exhausting. Each motion is repeated hundreds of times. Bend down, cut, pull, lift, carry, drop. Again and again, until the field slowly changes color behind them. The wheat that once stood upright becomes rows of straw lying on the earth. In a modern industrial farm, this work might be finished in minutes. Here, it takes the whole day. And the day is only getting hotter. The sun rises higher over the valley. The shadows disappear. The field turns into an open furnace. There is almost nowhere to hide. Yet the work continues. For the villagers, wheat is not just a crop. It is flour. It is bread. It is food for winter. It is security. It is the difference between a full table and an empty one. That is why no one stops when the heat becomes unbearable. They cover their heads. They move slower. They drink water when they can. But the rhythm does not break, because the harvest waits for no one. After the wheat is collected, the next stage begins. The bundles are brought toward the old threshing machine. It is not new. It is not clean. It is loud, rough, and covered in dust. But here, it is one of the most important machines in the village. It separates the grain from the straw. The tractor powers it. The belt spins. The metal shakes. And suddenly, the quiet field becomes a cloud of dust. This is the moment when the harvest becomes dangerous in a different way. The heat is still there, but now the air is filled with tiny pieces of straw and dry earth. Every breath carries dust. Every movement sends more of it into the sky. Still, the villagers move closer. One by one, they feed the wheat into the machine. Armful after armful disappears into the mouth of rusted metal. The machine pulls it in. It crushes. It beats. It separates. And from the chaos, grain begins to appear. This is the sound of a village, turning months of labor into food. Watch their hands. There is no wasted movement. Everyone knows where to stand, when to lift, when to step back, when to fill the sacks, and when to pull them away. This kind of knowledge is not written in books. It is learned by watching parents and grandparents. It is learned in childhood, in fields like this, under the same punishing sun. For many people watching from comfortable rooms, wheat is something that appears in a bag at a store. Here, wheat has a face. It has sweat on it, dust on it, fingerprints on it. Every sack being filled is the result of hundreds of small sacrifices. The sacks stand in a row near the field, waiting to be carried away. They look ordinary, but inside each one is a season of risk. If rain had come at the wrong time, this grain could have been ruined. If the heat had been worse, the crop could have burned before harvest. If the family had not worked together, the field could not have been finished. In this village, farming is not an individual job. It is a community effort. Some people work beside the machine. Some gather the remaining straw. Some carry sacks. Some stay in the shade for only a few moments before returning again. Even the pauses feel temporary, because everyone knows that daylight is limited and the work must be finished before the evening. The straw piles grow higher, the sacks become heavier. The dust covers clothes, faces, and hands. From the outside, it may look primitive, but primitive does not mean simple. It means direct. It means every step is visible, every mistake has a cost. Every success depends on human strength, timing, patience, and trust. There is no button that does the work for them. There is only the body, and in this heat, the body is constantly being tested. At one point, the camera moves away from the machine, and the village becomes quiet again. A road, a few vehicles, trees casting shadows over dry land. It is easy to forget that just beyond this calm landscape, people are still fighting through one of the hardest jobs of the year. Then water appears, a small pool, a village fountain, a narrow flow under the shade of trees. In a place like this, water is not background scenery. It is life itself. Without it, there is no wheat. Without wheat, there is no bread. And without bread, the village loses the center of its table. This is what extreme village life really means. It is not only beautiful views, old houses, and quiet roads. It is waking up before the heat becomes dangerous. It is working when the body wants to stop. It is trusting old machines because they are all you have. It is turning a dry field into winter food, one sack at a time. As the day moves on, the hills around the village remain still. The mountains watch from a distance. The wind passes through the trees. But down in the fields, the harvest has changed everything. The standing wheat is gone. In its place are cut stalks, piles of straw, and sacks filled with grain. What began as a golden field has become something more valuable: food. This is the part of village life that is rarely seen in tourist videos. The uncomfortable part. The part with dust in the throat, sweat in the eyes, and pain in the shoulders. But it is also the part that makes everything else possible. The bread baked at home, the flour stored for winter, the meals shared at sunset, the quiet confidence of knowing that, for another season, the land has given something back. By evening, the light softens over the hills. The heat begins to loosen its grip. The village returns to silence. But the people who worked here will feel this day long after it ends. In their hands, in their backs, in the dust on their clothes, and in the sacks of wheat that now carry the weight of an entire season. This is farming at the edge of endurance. This is wheat harvested in extreme heat. And this is how, in one remote village, bread still begins with human strength.
Ay turist olmuşum.
Hakan sen ne yapıyorsun orada? İsmail lan İsmail değil mi?